Alright, so I found out there's a submit for review button on Kickstarter, so my plans for this being a video announcement of said Kickstarter were shoved out the window. But the Kickstarter should be up on Tuesday, so 2 videos this week, yay! But in the meantime, let's do another RPG review. Scum and Villainy is a forged in the dark role-playing game, whatever that means. Honestly, I originally thought it was kind of a dark tone, but reading through it kind of feels more like it's comedy-based, but not really. It's made by Evil Hat Productions, a company I've talked about before in at least one video. I think the Fate one, and I'm pretty sure another one, but I can't recall. But this system uses an odd mix of a dice pool system and a single d6 system. It's honestly interesting, but essentially guarantees a success if you roll more than 4 dice. With that simplicity, this is a very easy game to get into, but I don't understand the kind of dark tones it tries to go for. In all honesty, at my table, even a horror game becomes a laughing matter because of my rolls. But with how this dice system works, you roll all the dice you're allowed, look for the highest value die, throw all the others out. If it's a single D or a single 6 is the highest, you get a full success. If it's multiple, you get a critical success. If you have 4 or 5 as the highest, it's a partial success. And if your highest is 1, 2, or 3, it's a bad outcome. Looking over the book, how it describes itself seems more like movies than like a game. But I don't think that's a bad thing, as it can put a mindset into players which can get results desired for your game. But this can also be a problem. The game book really does take itself way too seriously. Hell, the first chapter is just the basics of the game, and it's a hell of a lot to do. Good thing I can say that this game might be the only book really needed for this system. But bad thing is that it's incredibly simple, thinks too highly of itself, and has way too many mechanics for what's essentially a dice pool system. Hell, 5 different types of dice rolls. Each has multiple pieces to it as well, which makes things very long. It goes into combat, which looks incredibly long and tedious. Then there's a long bit where there's a starship is also involved, as though it's a separate character. Lord, just learning the basics is insane. Chapter 1 is 53 pages just explaining this crap. In comparison, the basics in Pathfinder 1 and 2 are, here are the dice you roll, this is what you add. While this one tells you every mechanic you'll need under any circumstances. Chapter 2 is about characters. Finally, there's 12 pages, however, just telling you how to get a character concept. This book is bloated to hell, but I can figure out a way to look at things. This should be looked at as though it's a Firefly tabletop RPG, not like it's some dark and gritty game that the book kind of tries to imply. With characters, each one is hyper-focused on a very specific kind of job. You've got the mechanic, the muscle, the mystic, the pilots, multiple for some reason, the scoundrel, the speaker, and the stitch. Each is pretty basic, though keep in mind that mystic is essentially a psychic mixed with the priest from Firefly, while a stitch is a mad doctor sort of thing. And then there's the ship, which there are 3 different ones, which we're not going to go into, but it is its own character. Not just having a character sheet, but its own character. The ship can make its own checks. I'm not even gonna go into it. The book kind of touches on it and also bloats on it, but it's just fucking havoc to understand. This game just takes itself way too seriously. When sat down with, everyone can discuss everything and kind of understand what's going to happen. Everyone can get on the same tone. At that point, then it works. But without that, with just a barefaced run, it can cause problems. It can cause people to conflict with what they're intending, with what they're desiring, everything like that, you know? Back to character creation, it's 9 steps long. And these are incredibly long steps, some of which I thought were the same things. You got the playbooks, which are the classes mentioned, starting ability, because apparently each one chooses from multiple, special ability, which apparently isn't like a starting abilities, heritage, which is like your race, you choose from 2, background, which is a background, fair enough, additional action ratings, which, hell, this is complicated thing as well. Choose a close friend and rival, which should have been put into the backgrounds like Cyberpunk Red does. Choose a vice, which the book uses the word to describe what this word means. And then the last part. Choose your name and alias and look, which is all gone into before these steps are even discussed. Oh my god. At this point, this book goes into more of what the GM needs to know, with a bit that the player needs to understand, like how to plan a heist, which makes me wonder what the pilot is supposed to be doing through everything, given their abilities are fully revolved around the ship. This game wants to be a movie. Could be a fantastic film, but as a game, it feels like it's taking itself way too seriously, somehow wants to be a Marvel movie, and also conflicts with itself, and everything takes 1,000 steps. Hell, every single role has at least 4 different steps in it, which can lead into 4 more sort of phases. Lord, I can do this. This is going to be a short video because I am just kind of fed up with this, really. It's giving me flashbacks to other games. People are saying they're having fun with this game, which, fair enough. You can enjoy it if you understand it, but the hard part is getting into this game. This game comes off as though it's Firefly, but every character has psychosis. This game comes off as though you need to take everything seriously, but need to be laughing at every matter because your dice will just make that happen. All in all, I'm going to give this game an 80% flat. Like I said, it's mostly just tone that I have issues with. It is hard to understand because there's so much to keep track of. It takes 2 chapters, hell, arguably 5 chapters, just to get the very basics of everything. By the time you get to making a damn character, it explains what each class is 3 times. But it might be a very hilarious game to play, so whatever. Now, I've got to work on the announcement trailer for Saloon, and rewatch Pariah Nexus Episode 2, so shove off.